Hey y'all, Phyllis here, southernfrugal.com. This morning we're going to fix some monkey bread. We're actually not going to fix the bread till much later today, but I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. We're going to make it from scratch. This is kind of my own recipe, but anyway, we're going to start out with just a very rich, sweet dough. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is dissolve the yeast, and your water needs to be a half a cup of water, and it needs to be probably about 110 degrees, and I can already tell you mine's too hot, so I'm going to have to mix some water with it. I'm going to do that by just putting some cold filtered water in it. Take that temperature down a little bit. Okay, and so we're about 108 degrees. Now I'm going to use just a little less. Excuse me, not a little less, that was a little more. This is half a cup of filtered water, and it is at 105 degrees now. Alright, so we're going to mix with this water 1 tablespoon of yeast. And I wanted to just say this because I had a question on this. This is the way I store my yeast, in a freezer compartment, and I get the yeast from King Arthur flour, and I keep it in the door of my refrigerator's freezer. And this is how much the whole thing was totally full, so I use this much in maybe about 9 months. So it's about time for me to reorder again. Alright, so again, this is half a cup of water, and it's actually at 105 degrees. Up to 115 degrees is okay. Just going to dump that yeast in. And then I just take a fork and make sure it gets dissolved in that water. And you just only have to stir it for just a little while. And of course it's going to stick to the edge of the little cup here. So just keep stirring it around till it gets all dissolved. Yeah, that yeast will keep very well frozen. I've never had any problem with it, and of course I do get it from King Arthur flour. And I order it, well, that there has lasted about 9 months, but usually I order yeast in February. I'm not sure why, that's when it comes close to running out. But this year I didn't make as many French loaf breads as I usually do because I've been getting it from Walmart. Okay, we're going to leave this sitting here for about 5 minutes, let it get all foamy, and we'll be back. Alright, we're back, and the yeast has foamed all up, so we're going to set that aside, and we're going to start out with 1 cup of scalded milk, and you want to make sure and let it cool. Now to scald it, I just put it in my microwave for about 1.5 minutes, boils up and then goes down, and make sure it's not over like 110 degrees. So I'm going to put that in a bowl, and to that we're going to add 2 eggs beaten, and 1/2 cup of melted butter, and again you want to make sure your butter is at room temperature. Just going to add that in. And we're going to add 1/2 cup of just regular white sugar, and 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm just going to beat that up a little bit. You don't have to use a mixer, just kind of beat it around a little bit. Doesn't have to be, the sugar doesn't have to be completely dissolved or anything like that. I just like to mix it all up. And I will put the recipe right down below in the description. Okay, I'm going to set that over there a minute. And we've got 4.5 cups of bread flour, 4½ cups. Now I'm going to have to use my hands. I'm pushing up my sleeves. So what I'm going to do is kind of make a well there. And I'm going to put my eggs and butter and milk mixture in first. Get that out of there. And just mix that around a little bit with the flour. And now I'm going to pour my yeast in. See, it's risen up even more now. Just going to dump that in. Mix it all up. Now this is going to be a no-knead base, rich, super rich base for the monkey bread. You just mix that all around, get it good and mixed up. Probably good enough right there. Just get it all mixed in. All right. Now what we're going to do is, let me move the camera back. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put this dough in the refrigerator for a minimum of 2 hours and cover it up, of course, with some plastic wrap. And then once we let it stay in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, we're going to be ready to make our monkey bread. And then we'll let it rise again, and then we'll be ready to bake. All right, we'll be back, probably 2, maybe 3 hours even. And you can leave this dough in the refrigerator for up to 3 days, so you can make it way ahead. All right, we'll be back. All right, we are back ready to finish our monkey bread. It's been, I think it's been about 5 hours, y'all. But anyway, it got a lot warmer, so I had to put on a short sleeve shirt. We had 74 degrees earlier in the afternoon. All right, so we've taken this out of the refrigerator. And again, you can keep this for up to 3 days. So what we're going to do is put it out and kind of flatten it out a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit of flour. And we're just going to dump it out of here. There's what it looks like, a close-up. All right. That last little bit out. Flour on the top of it and mash it out. All right, mash it out pretty flat. And remember, we didn't knead this at all. All we did was mix it up and put it in the bowl. And then put it in the refrigerator. You do have to put it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours minimum. All right. A little bit more flour on that. Smooth it out. And now we're going to cut it. And I'm just using my pizza cutter. Turn it around and cut it the other way. So I got a whole bunch of little squares. All right, so there it is all cut up. So now we're ready to put it in the pans. Now I'm using 3 of these little, I think they're 5 by 9 little inch bread pans, because I want to do enough that I can freeze 2 of them, because this freezes very, very well. So what we're going to do now is mix up something to roll them in. I'm going to use a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And what we're going to do is just sprinkle this around on sugar. This is 3/4 of a cup. Let me get it so y'all can see it a little better. There. 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar and 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. Just going to sprinkle that around in there. And we're going to add a teaspoonful of mace. This is the kind of spice that you would put in donuts. Right in there. And a teaspoonful of ground cinnamon. Now some people like a lot more spices and a lot more cinnamon. I just don't. I just rather have a teaspoonful in there. And the vanilla and the mace will kind of even out that cinnamon. So now I'm just going to mix that up. Remember, we've got the vanilla in that sugar too. And we're going to roll our little squares in this little mixture here. And then we're going to put it in the pan and let them rise. Okay. We've got 1 cup of melted butter. Now the butter's not hot, it's just warm. We're going to start dipping our little squares in there. Now I'm not rolling them into little balls, I'm leaving them in the squares just because it's easier. Put a whole bunch of them in at one time. Did about a little more than 1/3 of the little squares, and I'm just going to mix them around, and then they're going to go into the sugar and cinnamon and mace mixture. Roll them around a little bit. In fact, I can do a whole bunch at one time. And it doesn't matter what they look like, you just want to be able to pull them apart kind of a bite at a time. Just roll them all around, get plenty of sugar on. All right, so now I'm going to put them in the pan, and this pan is greased with some Crisco because it's not a non-stick type of pan. And so I have to grease it to make sure that it doesn't stick, because this sugar and butter are going to kind of make a caramely coating there. Alright, we're ready for the next ones. Yeah, this is just my version of monkey bread. Now, sometimes I make it in a big, flat pan. I have made it in the, the kind of pan that you make the pound cakes in, tube pan. But I really like it better in a flatter pan, because I really like the crust that forms on this. It is so, so good. Okay, put more in the pan, and it does freeze very, very well. In fact, what I'm going to do with this is actually just freeze it in my pan. And so now you want to just pile it on top. I'm probably only going to put 2 layers, so I'll finish doing this pan and then we'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, there's what it looks like in the pan. Now it's going to rise way up, probably to the top level of this pan. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 pans. Then I'm going to put it in the oven with the oven light on, not the heat element on, just the light, and let it double in bulk, and that'll probably take about an hour. And when that happens, we'll be back. Okay, it's been over an hour now, and this is what the monkey bread looks like. Now, I've had my light on right over there, the whole time, and so it's just ever the slightest bit warm in here. So what I'm going to do is cut the oven on 400 degrees now. Well, no, let's make it 375. And so I'm going to let them stay in there while the oven's heating up so they'll rise just a little bit more. All right, when this gets done, we'll be back. Okay, we just took these out of the oven. Now let's see if they're going to come out of the pan. We're going to try this one. Now these two I'm going to freeze, and I'm actually going to leave them in the pan. So here goes. There we go. Now this is going to be very hot. Let me pull it up closer. All right. There we go, right there. All right, let's see if we can pull one of these apart, like right there. Soaked in butter. Totally soaked. Let's move you back. There, okay. All right, let's see how this tastes. It's just dripping in butter. Oh. So good. Very buttery. Very. See if I can get another one out. So you can see the inside of it. Can y'all see it's light and airy and all covered with butter on the outside? Okay, y'all. We will see y'all next time. We got to have some of this right now. All right, bye for now. I'll leave the recipe down below.